and welcome to another edition of CropLife Retail Week. Paul Schrimpf with Sfiligoj here. So we're just chatting about all sorts of nonsense beforehand,
including trials and verdicts and
yes, and nonsense on the border and not having avocados and stuff like that. It's really quite sad. But
what are you going to do without your guacamole? It could be a problem. So we'll see.
We'll
see if it gets that far.
It's just all these little things that keep happening. It makes it almost impossible to do these videos because by the time this is shown 2 days from now, it'll be the whole world could change. It's
possible.
It's possible. But
you gonna break out the nuclear missiles flying again, are you? I
No.
mean, come on, Paul. Don't be that fatalistic, okay?
Okay. I don't know. You usually take it to the
I think we'll make it to the weekend, okay? I think we'll make it to the weekend.
Okay. If you're seeing this, then you're safe.
Yes. And if not, no one's going to
know. We're very sorry.
So,
oh my gosh.
All right.
So where were we? Oh well, the one thing we do know is glyphosate's still under fire.
Yes.
We saw the news that Vietnam had banned imports of glyphosate
based on the verdicts, the 2 verdicts in the United States and California against glyphosate, blaming it for causing cancer in the 2 plaintiffs in those cases. So yeah, based on those decisions, Vietnam has decided no more glyphosate coming into their country.
Yeah, and then it's and then the verdict came down. It was $80 million for the second.
Yep. 78 for the first.
So it's I don't know. It's interesting to see. I think one of the things we're looking at, I mean, with dicamba kind of being under fire as well, and so many difficulties with that is, what would happen if we lose some of these chemistries? What's the, what did we have to go back to those old school programs of, $40, $50 an acre plus?
Well, but even the old school chemistries are under fire, Paul. Because I know the Vietnam announcement. I know reading through that announcement a little bit closer, that country has decided that as of 2020, paraquat will no longer be used at all in the country, and I guess they're talking about the same treatment for 2,4-D. So I mean, again, go back to the older chemistries; they might not be an option either, Paul. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens. So.
Yeah, crazy stuff. So you got a couple items too?
Well, yeah, I guess on a more positive note, Paul, thinking about crop mix coming up here in 2019, what's your guesstimate as to what the #1 crop will be acreage-wise?
Say back to corn?
Oh yeah, back to corn, definitely. Corn will be king again. The USDA has released their estimates for 2019, and it looks like 92.8 million acres of corn will be planted, up 4%. Soybeans will be down to 84.6 million acres, which is down 5%. Wheat, 45.8 million acres, down 4%. And cotton, 13.8 million acres, down 2%. So yeah, looks like America's farmers are going back, Paul, to corn as the big cash crop for them going into 2019. So we'll have to see if that's actually what the final numbers end up with here, probably the next couple of weeks and months as we go through the planting season.
Yeah, interesting to see, if Nebraska can get on track and all those flooded fields and what ultimately happens there.
Good you mentioned that too, Paul. I know there was a report that they're estimating about 400,000 acres of corn and soybean land in Nebraska and Iowa and Missouri is being impacted by the flooding. So yeah, these USDA numbers I just read off, I mean, I guess the caveat on that is assuming that those acres dry out enough that they can actually get something in the ground between now and the first couple weeks of June.
Yeah, I heard an NPR report, I think it was this morning or last night, or 2 different NPR reports. One was about cotton bags, and I won't get into that because it wasn't particularly happy news for cotton tote bags. But anyway, potatoes. There was a report out of Idaho about the potato crop not going in, and it's already 4 weeks late.
Oh my God!
There's still snow cover. It's literally
wow.
It's beyond record. It's beyond anything that anyone's ever seen up there in terms of potatoes, and they're really the home of processed potatoes. Your French fries, your tater tots, and so forth. So keep an eye on that. But it's definitely going to erode the crop, probably increase prices and reduce supply. So
that's scary. Then we're going to be able to get hash browns with our breakfast burritos. So
no tots, no tots.
Goodness.
It's sad.
Yeah. So what else did you have? You had something else you were talking about just before we got on the air regarding farm communities.
You know, I get in these like news wells and Twitter jags, and I kind of look through and look for threads as to
a Twitter jag. I think I danced that back in high school, but I'm not sure.
Well, you'd have been clairvoyant then. That would have been incredible if you did. You probably should sue them for copyright. but talking about what they're calling Agrihoods, which I think is, I mean, it sounds like a very hippie concept when you talk about having agriculture basically be a part of a community or built into, you know, the fabric of a community. Mm-hmm. And what I don't like is a lot of these approaches, every one of them say an organic farm. It's like, it doesn't necessarily to me have to be organic, but I think it answers some of the questions about, one, getting consistent supply of some of the fruits and vegetables that we don't have access to, and maybe it's food under glass and protected ag of some sort, maybe it's vertical farming.
Yeah, right.
There's some things like that that actually could make a lot of sense, as long as we're not obsessed about it being completely organic. If we have a mix of crops and a mix of production methods that we use, and getting city people to kind of understand what agriculture is all about, I think would help everybody. Would help all the folks out in the rural communities to, if people understood more about what it takes to grow crops.
So is this just being proposed, or are there models out there right now?
They showed a dozen models, and what I don't like is, first thing I will look at is, they're all in California? No. Then instantly I won't, because it's like it's an aberration to the rest of the country. We can't, if you don't have one, like they have one in Chicago, they have one in outside of Kansas City and Kansas. So there are places that are actually have inclement weather. They have challenging weather areas that they're trying to experiment with this with, and so I'll give them that. I think it's possible that this could be something that moves forward, and I know it's something it's thing that Walmart very much would like to see, is be able to produce the crop pretty closer to the city in some ways, to get some of that food to be available to the communities more directly.
Well, we do already have that urban farming kind of thing going on, because I know here where we're based, just outside of Cleveland, in Ohio City, I believe they have one of those in-city farms where they bring in school children to show them how farming works, and they distribute all their produce at like the West Side Market, which is here in town, is a place where a lot of folks go to sell those type of things locally.
Sure. As long as the message is balanced. That's what sometimes I get a little bit miffed about, is that we tend to say, well, we can grow all this stuff and supply all this food for for everyone, and it can be organic and everybody's fed and happy, and it's just not, when it's this way, the way it is right now, 5 months, 6 months out of the year, it's kind of hard to grow stuff sometimes.
All right. Well, viewers, what do you think? Let us know, and let us know if you think Paul is onto something here, or you agree, disagree, or just don't like the fact he keeps drinking coffee while we're doing these videos.
Which somebody has said. You city folks are crazy. That's what they say, I think, most of the time. Anyway, thanks for joining us to this edition of CropLife Retail Week, and we'll see you next week. If you have questions or comments about today's episode of Retail Week, contact us by email or Twitter, or type your message in the comment section below.
Your feedback is important to us. We'll try our best to address your thoughts in next week's episode.
And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.